Got a drop on this bitch from Tennessee. I had a
Today we'll be discussing the psychological and physical effects of human trafficking.
What exactly is human trafficking?
Human trafficking is the act of forcing victims in labor, the black market trades, organ harvesting, or engaging in commercial sex exploitation. In this video, we'll be mainly focusing on sexual exploitations. The most common psychological and physical effects are as stated. Psychological: depression, PTSD, anxiety disorders, and isolating behaviors. Physical: STD/HIV, possible pregnancy, malnourishment, and bruises.
The conditions of human trafficking affect victims through psychological manipulation, conditioning the victim's mind to believe that it's the best way to live or that there are no ways to survive after escape. Human trafficking includes physical, verbal, and sexual abuse that can lead to psychological disorders, such as anxiety, depression, and memory loss. Society often questions why victims don't just leave the industry if it's so abusive. However, victims are trapped in a repeating cycle of manipulation causing them to stay. Howarth's study for the Department of Canada states that over 75% of victims came from a background of unhealthy social relationships or unstable home life. For this reason, many of them also carried trauma and had experienced a lack of validation in the past. This puts victims in a vulnerable position where traffickers know what to say to control them. Traffickers often tell their victims that they are proud of how far they've come and should be proud of their success. Traffickers also often pursue relationships with their victims to gain trust and power over the individual, increasing the victim's desire for validation. This produces serotonin in the brain, triggering happy emotions, and traffickers use this as an award system to gain more power.
In this video, we have 3 victims. Their names are Carly Church, Madison Holman, and her mother Jennifer Holman, as well as Elijah Muhammad. We'll be talking about their recovery and current day life briefly.
Years after the initial emotional recovery from human trafficking, many individuals are still psychologically affected in their day-to-day lives. Howarth reported that over 70% of individuals struggle to find self-worth, confidence, and trust while living with anxiety, depression, PTSD, and imposter syndrome. Many survivors also struggle with reversing the mindset of being reliant on trafficking to make money for basic necessities. Because victims are often marginalized and looked down on by society, they feel like they belong in the industry and have no other options. Survivors are also impacted in their social relationships because they have been deprived of healthy relationships for so long. This makes it difficult for survivors to know how to act, what to expect, and how to treat others. Survivors face trust issues and emotional attachment and don't know what a healthy relationship is supposed to look like, often resulting in self-sabotage in most relationships.
Victim and survival of human trafficking will always experience lasting effects on their psychological health, even after recovery. Up to 78% women, 61% men, and 57% of children who were faced with human trafficking have reported signs and symptoms of PTSD, anxiety, depression, and even psychotic disorders. Survivors are also prone to cope with harmful methods such as substance abuse, isolating behaviors, and self-harm. Thomson Reuters Foundation interviewed 387 boys and girls aged between 10 and 17. 12% of those victims said they had tried to harm or kill themselves, and 16% reported having suicidal thoughts. 53% of adults who were trafficked experienced having suicidal thoughts, and 84.4% reported that they have attempted suicide. Instances such as Carly's recovery are very common. She was brainwashed into thinking she was dependent on her traffickers for basic food, money, and shelter. A detective found her ad online and decided to help. He gave her a cell phone and connected her to help. When her traffickers were arrested, she felt as if her financial security was being taken away. She was conditioned into thinking she was dependent on her traffickers, though she's doing much better and has come full circle by working with human trafficking crisis intervention. Although, in Madison's case, her story is told by her mother. Madison was unfortunately killed in a car accident. During her initial encounter with police, she felt incredibly frustrated that they wouldn't help her. There was never any justice done for my child. Nobody was held accountable for what happened to her. She's doing much better now and doing yearly conferences to help educate frontline investigators involved with human trafficking. Lastly, in Elijah's case, he tried to deny everything that has happened to him, and he tried to mask the truth. He hid the horrendous things the traffickers did to him in order for him to try and heal past it. Now, he began to accept the truth to heal and goes to therapy, though he still has anxiety and depression. As of 2023, human trafficking rates in Alberta have increased from 2 to 38 cases, though this is only an estimate since evidence is hard to provide. Across Canada, the government is bringing more awareness and attention to the issue. They have implemented the National Strategy to Combat Human Trafficking, and there are multiple resources.
Oh no! But I'm the biggest bird, I'm the biggest bird. But I'm the biggest bird, I'm the biggest bird.